Hello, I am going to open my presentation right now. I am trying Screencastify on Google. Let's see how this goes. Good evening. My name is Terrence White, and I am a seventh grade science teacher at Still Middle School in Aurora, Illinois. And I will be doing my presentation on plate tectonics. All right, my introduction is technology has changed more in the last 10 years than ever in history. And the concept of this, my project, is to talk about blended learning concept. It's bringing in the textbooks and mix within the technology. But the ultimate goal is to have the technology redefine the way I teach. During the unit, still to understand how plate tectonics is the main driving force in geology and how it affects their everyday lives. Okay. Also, students will be able to put together the important concepts of plate tectonics and apply them to future units. Because without plate tectonics, geology is not, doesn't make sense and it's not relevant. And they will take a summative exam and submit a digital portfolio at the end of the unit to show evidence of learning. Well, we have to know our learner. I have 145 seventh graders. 18% are free and reduced lunch. I have 10 IEP students, and most of my students are lacking background knowledge in geology because geology is the most abstract branch in science. And some of the objectives, they all come from the next generation science standards. The students will be able to develop a model describing the cycling of Earth materials and the flow of energy that drives the process. And all my criteria for success is I do a 4-3-2-1 rating scale. So 4 would be mastery, that would be excellent. 3 is proficient, which is average. 2 means needs improvement, and 1 is unsatisfactory. The goal for success is to get a 3 on every project, but they can always try to shoot for that 4 if they want. And here are more of the standards right here. The idea is to not just know terms, but to understand the purpose of plate tectonics. Okay, teaching strategies. One of the things in learning strategies, one of the things I talked about was Bruner's constructivist theory. This theory really talks about just a predisposition towards learning. 145 students, they're all going to have a different way of learning. And especially when it comes to plate tectonics, it's important to know basically, do they care? Because seventh graders are very egocentric. They care about themselves and they're trying to figure out how everything is relevant. He goes on to state 3 main principles of instruction. Instructors must be concerned with the experiences of content that makes students well and able to learn. The readiness, are they ready to learn? Number 2, instruction must be structured so that it can be easily grasped by students, spiral organization. And this starts to tie into Piaget's theory of develop cognitive. Are we teaching them? Is it developmentally appropriate for them? And the instruction should be let them to explore and fill in the gaps. Go beyond the information given. You give the information. Let's go beyond that. And that's where a little bit of differentiation comes in. We've heard the word differentiation a lot. Okay, now we get to Piaget. A lot of this Piaget talks about are things developmentally appropriate. Our next generation standards really touches on, are we teaching things that are appropriate for their age group? For example, we're not going to have a first grader explain the theory of plate tectonics because it's not developmentally appropriate for them. Whereas a seventh grader can start to explain it and they can grasp the concept. But even for our seventh graders, that is a complicated task. Make sure the learning materials and activities are appropriate for their level. I'm not going to have a first grader do a lab on plate tectonics if they don't even grasp the concept of it. But a seventh grader, we can do more abstract learning, and their brains are still growing at this time. So it's good to really start pushing that abstract. And the last thing it talks about is just actively involve them. Students center learning, they need the ownership of their learning. Technological tools. I'm a big fan of Google Classroom. This LMS is awesome because it really makes everything interactive. Socrative is an online assessment tool. One of my goals for next year is to turn all of my tests and make them digital. Google Drive. Since every student in my district has a Google account, we can get rid of textbooks and all the quizzes, classwork can be submitted through Google Drive. Google Hangout. One of the things I will do next year is I want to chat with another seventh grade class in the district and have them collaborate with each other. And part of their digital portfolio is they will make Weebly and Google Sites to submit their digital portfolio at the end of this unit. Day-to-day prescription. First day, they're going to take a pre-assessment on plate tectonics. This is just a baseline to see where they stand. And if they do bad on it, that's okay. They'll determine if they are green, complete mastery, yellow means somewhat, red means they don't have a clue about the learning target. After that, we will do a reading strategy called BOIP, blue, orange, yellow, purple. Blue means they highlight the headings, orange, number the paragraphs, yellow, bold vocab words, and pink, italicized words. And this really gets them the organization of what they're going to be learning out in the section. And they don't realize it, they're pre-reading. Day 3, the students will take the information from that section they read about and they'll apply it to a lab and an activity made for this. For example, they'll make a model that represents the chemical and physical layers of the earth. One of their activities is they can do anything they want. They have to make a model of the layers of the earth. At the end of the class, they'll take a formative assessment on the layers of the earth. Next day, they'll come in, they'll take a socrative quiz to see what they've learned about. And then we are going to do a PhET simulation. PhET is an online simulation where it really shows visually how plate tectonics works. And they're going to go through and answer questions on Google Drive related to that PhET simulation. 5th day, students will work through their vocab squares. I have vocab squares that shows that they do a visual representation of what they're learning about in a unit. And then we are going to start the next section, pre-read text, and do that BOIP strategy again. It's my day-to-day. Conceptual organization. I believe this was a big part of augmentation because the technology doesn't modify the unit, but allows students to be able to visually understand the movement of plate tectonics. It's a supplement to the learning. It enhances it. Socrative and Google are a great example of augmentation because it supplements the main material, but it doesn't stand alone. Summative evaluation. At the end of the unit, they are going to take the same exact test as their unit to see how much they've grown from the beginning of the unit to the end of the unit. And this is a great way to show constructivist theory because it shows, rewarding. I really learned a lot. They go from a 38% to a 90%. They're going to show how much they show themselves how much work they've put in. The second summative evaluation is going to be that digital portfolio. That is going to be an opportunity for them. They can do pictures, they can do videos, they can do video clips to show their evidence of learning what they've learned throughout the unit. So a lot of summative evaluations going on. And here are my references. I wanted to say thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I hope you've gotten a lot out of it, and I've enjoyed my first graduate class. Have a great day, and have a great rest of your summer.